2024. Should I restate that? I will do it again. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Tumwater Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for April 17th, 2024. We have, I guess we'll do roll call. Aaron Carrier here. Joe.
Here.
Shane Harrington. No. Joel Hecker.
Here.
Mike Cully.
Here.
Amy Hargrove.
Here.
We're missing one.
I will tell you at this time, Bill Kalapa resigned. So he is no longer on the commission. He's had, has a new house. A new house. Is that on?
On the coast.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he has a new house and him and his wife are doing not different things separately, but different lifestyle things, and they're gonna move, and so he sadly resigned.
Hmm.
So we'll be able to fill that position.
Okay. We do have a change to the agenda. The first order of business, there's not even okay. The first order of business is we actually have to select a chairperson. So.
I nominate Aaron Carrier.
Second.
Okay. We have any other nominations? Really? Okay. We'll vote. All in favor, Aaron Carrier continuing as chairman of the Parks Commission, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now we need,
Gavel it. It's gavel.
oh, I get to gavel? We got the gavel back. Now we also need to select, what is it called? Is it vice chair?
Yes.
Okay, vice chair. I think it's Ben Mike.
Okay.
I'll nominate, I'm not allowed to make a
I can
nomination.
nominate Mike for vice chair.
I'll second.
Oh, okay. I can nominate Mike Cully for vice chair.
I'll second that. Do we have any other nominations?
No,
No?
you guys, we're the new guys on the end here. So
We're junior. Let it ride.
You want to do it?
No.
Okay. All in favor of Mike Cully as vice chair, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. All right, there we go. Gavel number 2. All righty. So I don't have the full agenda. I just have the different items. So it looks like our next thing is Todd, recreation manager.
So Todd's here tonight to give you an update on what's going on in the recreation division. While we're certainly busy year round, once the sun comes out, it's full speed ahead until November with events as well as camps, classes, programs, and everything that goes on in recreation. So this is a good overview of what's going on and how you can be involved.
Thank you for having me tonight. As Chuck said, I'm here to give you an update and kind of recreation division update, but I really want to focus on, it's been 2 years about we became a Metro Park district, and part of that was we were able to add a recreation staff, a recreation coordinator, with the hopes and focus of adding community events and adult recreation. And so I wanted to give you an update on how we've met some of those goals and what we're doing on some new programs, new community events, talk about what's coming up this spring and summer and how you might be involved. So that's why I'm here tonight. And I only have one transition, but it's worth waiting for.
Okay.
You'll like it. It's creative.
Ready.
It better be good, Todd.
I know it's good. It's good. So see if this works. Yeah. Yes. So some of the new programs we have offered, focusing on adult recreation. Our first one that is pretty big. We always wanted to kind of do an adult volleyball tournament, and we had the name for it. We just didn't have the staffing. Rallying the Valley, and so that was one thing we added in June of last year. It's the second Saturday of June, and our first year we had 31 teams, which is pretty amazing. Spent all day down there till evening. and it was a great time. And we are going to have our second Rally in the Valley this June, June 8th. That's what the middle picture is, and then some of the pictures there. We also have added active adult trips. We were maybe doing 1 or 2 a year kind of thing. Now we're doing 2 a month. And those are very popular. We take about 15 people at 55 and older on various trips. We've gone to Skagit Valley Tulips last week, Northwest Track. We're taking a tour of a guide dog training facility in Oregon next month. That's pretty exciting. So those are things we've had that are very popular now for the community. Another thing we've done is added an adult cornhole league, and that goes from June through September, and that's anywhere from 20 to 30 teams that we have that participate in that. And you should see the names of the teams. It's pretty funny. We've added a lot of lecture series and tours, community conversations that focus on the creative economy, to a lot of history talks and Riverwalk tours in partnership with Olympia Tomar Foundation. Those are things that we've added as well. Last Friday, we actually had about 15 adults play adult archery tag. We rented the facility at Peter G, and they took over and shot each other with arrows for about 2 hours. So that was something that we've done.
Wow. Was
And
that
then
indoor or outdoor?
It was indoor. And then we just filled up today. We have a Rainier's Day coming up in May. We're taking 15 active adults up to the Rainier's game, and they have a special suite and stuff. So there's just types of things we've added with the adult rec as far as program go. And then new community events. We added two big new community events since 2022. The first one I have on there is Dog Days. Another thing we kind of want to do, and Chuck originally had this idea, I'll give him credit, is to do an event for pets, for dogs. So we came up with a good name, Dog Days, and we were able to offer this to the community last year. And we had about 500 people show up. And this happens also the second Saturday of June. This year it's going to happen the same time we're doing the Rally in Valley. So the adult volleyball league tournament's going to be going on, and then across the side of Pioneer, kind of where the playground is where we're going to do Dog Days. And we were fortunate enough to have Twin Star join us the first year. They loved the idea, and they said, "We'll give you $5,000 for this event, and we'll have 20 plus staff come and help you run it." And so we added a Twin Star kind of loop, doggy loop, where people can walk around with their pets and get different prizes, and all sponsored by Twin Star. And we met with them this year, and they said, "We love what you're doing. So we'll give you $5,000 again for Dog Days, and we want to give you $5,000 more for however you want to use it," which is really what you want to hear in my shoes. So I said, "Well, a new golf set," and no, I said, "We'd love to have you be part of Falls Fest." And so they're going to be our stage sponsors for Falls Fest this year. And they're also going to be sponsoring the volleyball tournament that's happening in the same place, because it makes sense that they're sponsoring both events. So that was really exciting. It rained last year, so we're hoping that it'll be a little drier this year. But that event is just focused on dogs. And we are partnering. Also, Toyota is joining us this year too, and they're providing free vaccines for the first probably 100 and so dogs. It's a $1,500 value with Deschutes Animal Clinic. So that's pretty special this year, and that's again on June 8th this year down at Pioneer Park. So Falls Fest, I mentioned, this will be our third year this coming September, because we actually we hired our rec coordinator mid-July, and then the following September is when we started Falls Fest. So it was a quick turnaround. But for a first time event, we had about 1,500 people, and this event is really focused on art, the salmon, and music. So it's different than a lot of our events that we've offered in the past where it's, family focused, kids. This is very art focused. We have about 15 to 20 art vendors there. So they're either selling art or showing their art, or kids can participate making crafts. We have food vendors. It's a great time. And we were down at Brewery Park, and we partner with Olympia Tomar Foundation. It's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. this year. So we've extended a little bit because our second year we had over 5,000 people come. So it's a real popular event. A lot of times when you do events, it takes a while to grow them. Like, when we started the festival, we started a few years where we were getting 4,000, maybe 6,000. We were kind of stuck in that for a while. And then, it's exploded to 10 and 15 and 20,000. But this event, the community seemed to grab onto it right away and love it, and looking forward to it each fall. So it's the last Saturday of September down at Brewery Park. Another slide. Transition's not there yet, Mike. We'll
I'm
move
waiting
on.
for it.
Another change we had in January of this year, we were able to hire a full-time volunteer coordinator, Brianna Feller, who's right over there. During COVID, that position was given to me to run for a while, with hopes of eventually hiring a volunteer coordinator. And I'm so glad we waited for the opportunity to hire Brianna. She's been a great fit for our team, offers so much, and she's just already made a big impact, and she's only been there since January. So we're happy to have her. So Volunteer Tumwater, just so you know, we have 3 main areas of that program. So we got the stewardship program, events, and neighborhood matching grants. Stewardship is you adopt a road, you adopt parks, you adopt trails, adopt neighborhoods. Did I get all of them? Yeah. And so she'll train you, get you equipped, and then tracks hours for the city, or not just for these programs, but for the whole city. So all the departments in the city have to report her the hours, and then she reports those quarterly to admin, so we can get those to LNI. And then, and also special with Brianna, she's able to do all our promotions and registration because of her experience and knowledge. And that's been huge. That's something that we wouldn't have without her, which also takes kind of relief a little bit on Marisa, our marketing specialist, because those duties were put on her as well with adding this to the program. So we appreciate that. And I meant to mention Earth Day is this Saturday. We actually had to shut down registration because she did too good a job promoting it. That's happening down at Historical Park this Saturday from 10 to 1. So we have how many registered? Like over 60 pre-registered. So sorry, I keep looking at you.
Yeah, we have about 72 people pre-registered, which is a little frightening, but we're very excited. But if any of you want to come down, check it out, hang out for a bit, see what we're doing with the park, I'd love to have you there. We'll have sandwiches and some chips.
Yeah.
T-shirts are already spoken for. I'm sorry.
So, and this is a event we do in partnership with the Park Foundation and the Lions Club, and it's really for the students of Tumwater, and it's an opportunity for the school that brings the most students gets $1,000 for their school, and the second place gets $500. And so we're hoping that we see a large students there, and it's been a partnership we've done over the years. And then this is, I think, our 4th year where we've teamed up with Tree Board doing their Arbor Day event down there at the same time. So we'll be down at the shelter down at Historical Park this Saturday. So. She froze me. She wants to stay on that. We're good? Not working.
They go now.
No. There. And Tumwater Arts. We hired a halftime arts specialist, Britt Bowman. About the same time we hired our recreation coordinator position, Terrence Stroop, who's no longer with us. But they started about a month apart. And so we've done some great things with the arts program, a new program. Britt's done a great job at halftime, and we're fortunate that the council has supported that position becoming full-time June 1st, which is right around the corner. So we're going to be doing even more with the arts. A big one of that is creating an arts commission, and then increasing the programs and events we do with that. Some of the things we've done since adding this program, we've added a lot of arts and parks. That includes arts and parks, poetry and park, music and parks, those kind of programs for kids. Britt has added and enhanced our events that we do now currently by adding art to it. A picture right down there is one of our Screen of the Green Nights at Tumwater Hill, where she did a art activity with the movie Encanto, where the kids made lanterns. And then when they left that night when it was dark, they're all going home with lighted lanterns that they made, which was really cool. So she's enhanced, the events that we do, we've added art to it. Easter egg dash, which we just had a couple of weeks ago, we gave out about 200 art kits to the kids. So that's what Pop-In Arts is. Falls Fest is a big component of that event is working with art vendors and vendors. So she does that. The one I'm most proud of, probably selfishly, is the showcase that we were able to work with the Tomar School District. It's kind of something I've wanted to do for a long time. We were able to use City of Tumwater's 2 nights that we get at the Washington Performing Arts for the art program. And we worked with the school district, Andrew and Landowski, who is their volunteer or music coordinator, and working with it was a lot of work, but at the end of the day, we sold out 1,000 seats. We had close to 560 students on stage that performed for 2 hours. It was a really neat experience for the kids. That's something they will never or would never have gotten an opportunity to do. So that was a great thing that we accomplished. Some things coming up soon. We're doing 2 events at the Schmidt Garden or Schmidt House. It's called Summer at the Schmidt Garden Parties. And that's also partnering with Olympia Tomar Foundation. And the proceeds to that goes to the Tomar School District Instrument Fund to help kids that can't afford instruments to be able to play. So those are some things we're doing. And again, I think I mentioned the Arts Commission. That's going to be a big one for Brett to take on and when she becomes full time. And then we're also going to be doing an Echo Fair next year at the Craft District. So keep an eye out for that. Here it comes. Ready?
Oh, snap. That was amazing.
That was good.
You might have paid for that. I don't know.
That was excellent.
That was origami, which is art.
Gotta top that
Yep.
down.
So I had this be the last slide where it says Tomar Parks and Recreation welcomes you. This is into our July 4th festival. But I also wanted to welcome you to what we do throughout the year. And we've included the calendar of events. So that has all our special events that we do throughout the year. So I wanted to make sure you had those. As Chuck said, we're entering our kind of crazy busy time. And that lists all the events that we have that I wanted to give to you, so you can use that the summer if you're bored. But we would love to have you just either out at our events to come check them out, to support them, or volunteer. You can always reach out to Brianna. We get you signed up, put you to work, or you can come and just be there to support and see what we do. We'd love to have you. So those are all listed on this paper that you have. And some ideas that I was going to throw out if you would like this summer to kind of get a good grasp on some of the programs we do is we have a day camp and teen camp all summer long. It's an 8-week program at Peter G. We'd love to have you come out there and check out the great things we do with 55 kids or so. That's not including the teen camp. So it's actually closer to like 70 kids a week at Peter G. We take care of. Our senior program is going year round. And we do monthly picnics down at Historical Park, and that would be a fun time if you wanted to come and have lunch with the seniors, get to talk. We have about 60 or 70 that come to that. That would be a good opportunity. And then I like to promote, we have a lot of sports, multi-sports camps throughout the summer. Tennis camp, we have over 25 that we do throughout the summer that we offer, but Kicking the Grass is the biggest youth soccer tournament. And it really showcases what Pioneer Park can offer. We have about 60 games there that weekend. It's the third weekend in July. It's year 46. It's the longest standing youth soccer tournament, and our facilities, our park staff, recreation staff work really diligently with the Tomar Soccer Club to make that happen. So that might be a good one to check out this summer. And then I want to update you on our new staff member that is joining our recreation team, recreation coordinator, Ashley Dagner. She starts May 1st, which is just a couple weeks away. She is coming from Happy Valley, Oregon, where she was. So Happy Valley is about the same size as Tomar, about 28,000 people. They're a staff of 4, but really 3, because one of those is the parks director, who has like 4 different jobs. And so she's used to doing a lot of different things, kind of like we do in our department, where we all kind of help out and do different areas. But she's going to be a great fit, and she's going to focus on senior programs, classes, and events. And so you'll get a chance to meet her. Maybe we'll bring her here and you can get to meet her in person, but I want to let you know that's happening as well. So that was kind of my quick update of kind of what we've accomplished since adding the new position, those 2 new positions, the rec coordinator and Britt, and then also share with you some of the things coming up, not this spring and summer, but also throughout the year, if you would like to be part of or come. And then if you had any questions for me.
Is Kicking the Grass being held at multiple venues still?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not just Pioneer Park.
No, traditionally they're out at Capitol Soccer Fields, some at usually both high schools.
they're all over. They try to do as
Um,
many as they can at Pioneer, but
Yeah.
I think they had 80 teams last year play. 81 teams.
Those active adult trips of like 15 people, do you find that it's generally like the same 15 people are going on all of them? Just out of curiosity, or is
Well,
there a variety?
Chad Harvell, our rec coordinator, has kind of started those and built the program, and there is a following. I would say there's like 5 that go on all of them, but there is new ones as well.
Because I feel like if I'd go on all of them.
Yeah. He definitely has a following of like 6 or 5 that go on all of them. Yeah, it's pretty.
And then with those summer at the Schmidt garden parties, what is that exactly? Like, I'm envisioning some 1,800 people in ball dresses and things like.
So they're still like, so Olympia Tomar Foundation is pretty much leading that or creating those. And then our arts program is going to be adding, we'll work with, what music is offered or what art piece connection with that event. But they're going to be dinner, a fancy dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, dress up. There'll be music, that kind of stuff. So, but Olympia Tomar Foundation will be taking registrations and promoting that. So we'll make sure once those details are set. But I have the dates. It's July 18th and August 8th that they'll be doing that, and hopefully do more things in the future with that. Any other questions? Did you like the transition?
It was wonderful.
Yeah,
Best ever.
top that, Chuck.
Oh, thanks for letting me come.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
That was a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
So Chuck, it's your turn.
I'm ready. Okay, I feel like we've been neglecting you just in general as a commission. We have met forever, but I'm a real stickler for not having a meeting just to have a meeting. So I want something to happen on the agenda. Maybe it's not a decision. Maybe it's just an update and input from you. But we are as busy. I would say busier than we've ever been in the department. It made it a little bit more difficult in some changing staff and a couple of retired staff and new people just learning new jobs. So yeah, we're scrambling a bit right now, but we have a ton of stuff coming up. The biggest of which, at least to me personally, is planning a community center. So as part of the Metropolitan Park District funding, our key item in that whole funding package to the voters, the gold star part of why they should vote for it was the creation of a Tumwater Community Center. At $13 million in 2018 is what we valued it at. It will be slightly more than that now, based on inflation and the money that's come in and valuation of city properties. So it's going to be a very involved community process. We went through a bid process and we hired Barker Rinker CCAT Architecture out of Denver, Colorado. They have worked with us before on a community center in 2005 to 2007. And then just 2 years ago, they worked with us and the city of Olympia on an aquatic study for the region and the need for a swimming facility in Thurston County. So they were a great fit. I'm super happy they applied. There were 3 companies that applied. All could have done it. We went through a process and a committee and a scoring system and chose Barker Rinker CCAT to do this project. So we're currently finalizing the contract right now. And as you might imagine, now working for the state, getting a service provider agreement done of this size takes some time and a lot of hands that touch it. It's in the city attorney's office right now. And I have some more discussions to do with the city administrator. But I think that will be going to the city council for final approval and acceptance in May. So that will really kick this off and then we'll start going. And I included their scope of work, which has been revised many times between me and their project lead. And it's a chart of a whole bunch of things that are going to happen. Basically, we've worked with them before remotely. We worked with them through COVID on the aquatic study, and they didn't come to town at all. And we did the whole thing via Zoom and Teams meetings, and it worked out great. I personally like it when we sit down one-on-one, especially when the public's involved, to get that input. So they'll be coming to Tumwater 4 different times during this process. We'll hold 2 different open houses for the public to attend. One to see what we're doing or what we plan to do and to give us input on what they think a community center should be, what the needs of Tumwater are. We'll take that information back. We'll have 2 other committees. One is an executive committee, which will be me. I'll probably pull Todd along so he can experience that. Our city administrator and maybe one other staff person, maybe an engineer will be on that smaller committee. And that's really just a committee that works directly with Barker Rinker CCAT on compiling data, working within the city system, planning the next meeting, getting everything set to come back to the other committee, which is the steering committee. That's made up of a representative from the city council, which at this point is Joan Cathy. Although I think there are other council members who are going to want to be involved in that. So we'll see how that process goes. And really they can send as many as want to come. Your role, sitting behind the die there, is to be the advisory committee to the city council on all things related to Parks and Recreation. So any and all of you can be on that steering committee, and I hope you would be to be a part of that process. It's an exciting process. It's fun to put it together, and it's equally frustrating to put it together. And then you throw in, certainly I know what I think we need, but you throw in the public and taking public comment and what does the community really want, and you have to really weigh that. And then you really have to weigh that against how much money we have to spend. So that's where it becomes difficult. And Aaron's been through it before with Barker Rinker CCAT. We'll go through a process of workshops. They have a little card game that we play that really brings things into reality about what you want versus what you can afford, and making tough decisions as a group about what the #1 priority needs are for the city of Tumwater for a community center. So we'll have meetings, staff and them will set things up. We'll have a meeting with the steering committee. We'll have a public workshop. They'll come back, they'll meet with staff. We'll refine what we heard at the workshop and get ready for the next meeting with the steering committee. We'll go through, here's what we heard, here's what we saw, here's what we think. Did we get this right? We'll refine that some more. We'll go back to the public and tell them, hey, here's what we heard you say. Did we hear you right? And we'll take more public input. We'll go back to the steering committee, we'll come back to staff. There's just a series of back and forth and refining till we get to a point where we've figured out what's in the building. We've figured out what we can afford with the money we have. And undoubtedly, we're gonna have another section that is, we really would like to have this thing, and this thing, but we don't have the money. So how might we do that? Is that bonding for more money? Is it going back to voters? Is it doing some other kind of taxing structure? Is it doing something different within the city budget to get that money? In the end, there'll be a final presentation to the steering committee, which will do the blessing of this is exactly what we said that we wanted and the way it looks, where it's sited. We'll be looking at 4 different locations within Tumwater right now. One is the former brewery site. One is the former DOT site on Capitol Boulevard. That's a 10-acre piece there. One is just off Tumwater Boulevard on the Port of Olympia property, which is currently trees. And then the last one we told the YMCA that we would look at their site, which is down on 93rd, proposed to be down on 93rd. So the steering committee, besides the city council rep and you, will have representatives from the school district. Certainly they'll be a partner and a potential user of this facility. We'll have someone from the chamber. We'll have someone from the senior center because it's our intent to move out of Old Town Center and create a new modern space for our seniors. And then we'll just have some community members on that. So fairly large committee, but that'll be great during the planning process. So I'm not going to go line by line through that meeting A, meeting B, exec committee, steering committee, all that, but you can read through that. If you have questions on that, I'm happy to dive into any of that. So last night during the council meeting, I had a thing at the very start, and then I had a thing at the very, very end. So during the council meeting, I'm doing this presentation that I'm going to do for you. And as I was going back and forth and I'm putting slides together and I'm noticing that I'm going back to our previous work with Barker and Kerseecat and the community center design that we came up with in 2007 and just stealing those slides. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna hack that presentation. I'm gonna give that. So what you see here is the first one I did May 12th, 2005.
Wow.
I left that on. And then so I took out a lot of slides. This was like a 45 slide show here. So I pared it down some, and I don't do transitions like some people are known for. So it's pretty straight stuff. So just like last time, we had Barker and Kerseecat, it's the city council, it's staff, it's you guys, and it's the public that works on it. We're basically doing the exact same thing, except we're not building a swimming pool in this design. What we told the voters was that we would build a community center and we would have enough land available outside the community center that if we chose to build a swimming facility in the future, it would be there. And that's just economies of scale. So you build a community center that has gymnasiums, and then you have locker rooms that go with that. Swimming pool needs locker rooms, it needs parking lot, it needs entry attendants, it needs all the things that we'll already have. So adding another piece to that facility would be a lot easier if in fact we chose to do that sometime in the future. So meeting the needs citizens of all ages and abilities, sustainability, indoor recreation. We rely 100% on the Tumwater School District for indoor recreation, which means we can't do it until after, depending on the school, after 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, and sometimes on weekends, depending on who we're competing against to get school facilities. So having our own facility greatly increases what we can do in the community.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
What happened in 2000? Like, what's different between 20 years ago and now? What was the funding structure 20 years ago?
20 years ago, it was what was it, PFD? Yeah, Public Facilities District money. So the state, in the early 2000s, the state came out with a new funding strategy for cities called the Public Facilities District. And cities could apply and become a public facilities district, and they could get a percentage of the state's portion of the sales tax. So it didn't cost the voters any more, and the state was actually giving up a percentage of the sales tax that we were paying back to them. And then we were able to fund recreational facilities with that. So it went on for almost 2 years, and it became a battle. It was pretty ugly in the end. It became a battle between Tumwater, Olympia, and Lacey as to who was going to get the funds. And in the end, we had this project, our community aquatic center project. Lacey had the RAC as their project,
Yeah.
and Olympia had the Children's Hands-On Museum.
Okay.
So we were positioned very well with that. Lacey was intent that they were going to get the money, and then in the end, they made a deal with the city of Olympia and said, "Hey, we'll give you some of our money if you vote for our project." And then Tumwater was out.
Gotcha.
So that's how that went. So I did work with Olympia staff this last legislative session with a representative from Chelan and Sam Hunt, our representative, and they got legislation passed that we can do another public facilities district if it's for aquatics or indoor athletics. That would require going back to voters and saying, hey, because it's not the state's portion of the sales tax this time, it's actually an increase to sales tax. So it's a little bit different funding strategy that will actually hit people in the pocketbook. So we choose to go down that road. I think it would be for an aquatics facility. It would probably be a joint facility between us and Olympia.
Okay. I didn't mean to detract too much. Just
Yeah.
curious about the origin.
Yeah, so
But it was a
there
really
is-
good question because it was,
Yeah, there is stuff going on there. I don't think we need this slide. So here's what we had. Here's what we had in the last community center. You know, obviously you have a lobby and a place where people come in and they can get concessions. We had a retail space where you can buy things to use in the facility, staff space, support spaces. You know, that's mechanical and storage and things like that. We had a babysitting child watch area, so people coming to use the facility, adults could drop their kids off and have them taken care of while they're in a class or swimming or exercising. We had a party room, classroom, kind of meeting room set up where we could rent those rooms out. A multi-purpose room, which was could have been a variety of things. Could have been a meeting room. It could have been an exercise room, a yoga room, things like that. We had two full court gymnasiums. We had a multi-activity court, which is basically a gymnasium with a plastic floor that you can play hockey and do other things on. We had a walk jog track above the gymnasiums. We had a fitness area with weights and machines, an aerobics room, which could also be a cycle room. And then we had a pretty substantial water element with both leisure and competitive aquatics. And at that time, it was a $16 million facility. And here's where we're going to put it. So, and we're still looking at that site today. So my pointer is, there it is. These are the hotel. This is Tumwater Boulevard. I-5 is right here. These are the hotels that are on Tumwater Boulevard and I-5. This is Center Street, and then Lenderson, LNI is up here. Kind of know where we are. So it was just off and down here. So, you know, key access on and off of I-5 if we're doing activities that bring people from out of town to promote tourism. And you really can't see that, so I'm not going to stay on that. Architecturally, we tried to really stay within the Tumwater theme, and maybe that theme's getting a little old in the city. I think it's wearing on some people with the throwback to the old brew tower right here, which is almost an exact replica of the brew tower with the small windows at the top. And then these buildings back here are kind of giving a nod to the historic hangar at the Olympia Airport. Another element without these are much more inexpensive to build than this brick building there. I think we can get more into that later. So components of community center, you know, lobby, the wow factor when you walk in the front door. Think of you know, any new building that you go into, if it's an office building or it's just plain Jane, or do you walk in and see like, hey, this was really well thought out. This is architecturally really nice. It's decorated very nice. It's a welcoming space. It's warm. It's inviting. Those kinds of things. So the entry obviously is very important. I'm going to stay away from those kind of pictures. Views from the lobby. We really want to make sure that when you come in the facility, maybe you're not using the gyms, or you're not doing weights. You're just coming for a meeting at noon, in some room somewhere. But you see all that stuff that's going on in the facility from the lobby. So whether you're a parent that wants to watch your kid, or somebody who's just visiting for some other reason, we want to expose everybody to everything that's going on within the facility. And really, I'm throwing all these things out just so you have this rolling around in your minds when it comes time to really start this process. You're already up to speed in what's going on. Staff space, as people come in, the first thing they're going to do is hit staff because it's a controlled building, right? You're going to pay to get in for most things that you're going to do here. So well-organized staff space. Locker rooms, obviously, and things have changed even more a little bit, I think, since we did this about unisex bathrooms or no gender bathrooms. Obviously, if you have gymnasiums, particularly aquatics, you're gonna have a lot of changing rooms, and most cities are going towards a smaller locker room and then individual changing rooms that can be either sex or family changing rooms, and that kind of takes care of that whole situation. Your standard locker room and use of materials and the way it's laid out. We'll go through all that stuff in the planning process. Aquatics, we had both a leisure pool, which is on the left, and that's your slide, your lazy river, your warm water lap lanes, places where you can do physical therapy, water aerobics, and just plain fun stuff. The pool on the right, obviously a competitive pool, 6 lanes, 25 yards, pretty standard. If we have aquatics people on our committee, which we probably will, I can almost guarantee, gone through that several times, they will come in and want a 50-meter pool that's 10 lanes wide. And then we'll bring them back down to reality of what it costs versus what the benefit is. And we'll end up with a 6-lane, 25-yard pool. School district participation. The school district's, I think, eager to participate in our planning process, whether there's a pool or not. Obviously, we're not going to go in planning a pool in this first phase, so that some of that stuff doesn't apply. But as far as gyms and exercise and classroom space goes, there's room there for the school district to work with us to use that facility and help pay for some of that facility. That there's also a feeling with the new administration that maybe we'd like to have Tumwater high school kids graduate in Tumwater rather than going to Lacey. And this facility can provide that as well, depending on how it's put together. Gym space. This is the cheapest space to build, the cheapest space to program, and produces moderate revenue. And we'll go through that in the design process. Every element of the building will go through. How much does it cost to build? How much revenue can it produce? And does that really make sense that it's included in the facility? Because that's really what it's going to come down to in the end. 10 years after this building is built, that's what it's going to all be about, is how much revenue is this thing going to bring in. So court space, you can do just, an unlimited amount of things in gym space, particularly if it's a multi-court facility. So that's big on my list. A MAC, I don't know that we would include this, but you can see there's a kid playing floor hockey in there. Really, it's just a gym where you don't have to worry about a wood floor, and you can pretty much just do anything. Fitness. I don't know that we'll do fitness right up front. Fitness is low cost, high revenue. And that's why you have private athletic clubs. That's where the money's at. We'll get pushback from local athletic clubs, particularly the Valley Athletic Club, if we try to do fitness, and that's something that we'll have to work through. Concessions, whether we put in you put in a Starbucks, you put in a Subway, you put in something. So when people are there, Todd's there all day with his 3 daughters playing basketball. And of course we would schedule those games so he is there absolutely all day long. It gets him someplace to go, get a coffee, get something to eat. It's more revenue for us, and it keeps the patrons happy. Childcare, this may or may not happen in this facility. It's a convenience to people that use the facility. It's not a real revenue producer. It's really more of an amenity to the facility. Meeting spaces. We were joking when you guys first got here about, we don't have any meeting space in City Hall anymore because everything's been turned into an office. Every meeting room, every closet, every little square foot of City Hall. which is why there's a meeting room in here now. And we use this every day for meetings. So meeting spaces at a premium, both for the city and for the community. And if you've been involved in a civic club or a community group that wants to try to find some place to meet, it's tough to find. And if you do find it, it's probably very expensive. So we're hoping to do that. We're not going to get into the wedding space or the large banquet productions or things like that, but a smaller community space. That's more classroom space, potential party room that works really well with swimming, but it can also work with gym and activity areas where you rent out a smaller room for kids' birthday parties. That's a revenue producer for low cost. Again, aerobics, cycling, yoga, those things. That's a fairly low cost element to provide. Walk jog track. If we have multiple gyms, it makes a lot of sense to put a walk jog track on top that goes all the way around the gym and potentially through other parts of the facility. Oh, teen activity room. These were really popular when we were designing this facility. They're not so popular anymore. Cities that installed a teen activity room, specifically trying to get to programs for youth at risk or latchkey kids or whatever they're called at a certain segment in time, didn't really work out that well. It was a dedicated space, didn't feel free form enough for kids to go there and have fun. It was more of a place where they ended up having to go and do homework and stuff like that. So didn't end up being that popular. Senior activities, I talked about trying to move out of Old Town Center. That's been a great facility that's done a lot for the seniors in our community, but it is a difficult facility to program and to manage. It's very chopped up inside. The parking is absolutely horrible for able-bodied people. And when you put semi not able-bodied people there every day, rain, snow, whatever, trying to find a place to park, cross that busy street, 2nd Avenue, and then the curbs and sidewalks that make your way finally to the facility. We do have a lot of falls outside there, and we're just trying to get them someplace safe, and someplace where we can provide some better programming. So, I don't envision it being a standalone senior area, a senior center, like we have a community center and there's a senior center building off to the side. It's going to be part of this building. They will be included in the activities in the building. There'll be a senior space for sure. That's probably what it will end up being. Some people call it a senior living room, but really it's just a comfortable space where the seniors can go and that's their spot, but they have access to other things in the facility. We're trying to integrate them with other things that we do. And you see that more and more with senior centers. Seniors are active. They want to do things. They want to go places. They want to go on a trip with Chad, stuff like that. So that, like the rest of the community, that's a balance. You have your really active seniors, and we Todd and staff do a fantastic job with low income seniors. There are people that come to that program at Old Town Center for lunch, and that's maybe the best and maybe the only meal that they're going to get that day. So it does a lot of good for the whole span of abilities and economic status for our seniors in Tumwater. We're going to skip Aquatics as much as that kills me. Just some more design elements and things that we'll look at as we decide what the building should look like. Certainly not wed to that, and we couldn't afford to do that again anyway, but it's an exciting time. I think there's a lot to go through. I'll explain the situation with the YMCA a little bit more. South Puget Sound YMCA wants to build another facility. They're working on one in Lacey. They would like to do one with Rob Rice, who's a local housing developer. He's doing a housing project down on 93rd, which is at the far end of Highway 99, the city limits. The Y would like to build a YMCA facility as part of his housing development, and they would like the city to give them our community center money so that they can build that Y. And then they'll provide activities and YMCA programs for our recreational needs. So I understand your reaction, and I actually had lunch with their director yesterday, and we talked more about it. He knows where we're at. We have told him that we'll include him in the process. We'll have one of his staff on our steering committee. They can tell us the benefits of the Y and why the Y meets all of Tumwater's needs. We have a very specific matrix that we've already worked out about how we're going to select the best site. Right now it's 2.5 pages long. Just check one box after the other about how does this meet the needs of the residents of Tumwater. And obviously something that's that far away from the center of town, not on the bus line, not close to a school, not close to
Anything.
shopping or food or
Absolutely.
gas or any of that stuff, it's not going to score well. But that's a process that we got to work through and talk with him. And maybe in the end, we can partner with them in some aspect of the facility. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Barker Rinker CCAT has built multiple YMCA's across the country. They built the Ray Kroc Center in Coeur d'Alene, which is like the most ginormous YMCA in the history of the world, funded by Ray Kroc from McDonald's, his family. So that they are well versed in what the YMCA is and how the YMCA operates, what the business model is, and similar to an athletic club. It's a membership-driven facility. So in the end, it's going to come down to we're going to work with the public, we'll work with staff, work with the community survey, and come up with what are we doing that serves the needs of the citizens of Tumwater? How are we meeting the recreational needs? If we have 1,000 kids in basketball in the winter, which we do, and we're struggling to put those games together in every single school facility in the district every single day for months on end. If this community center could solve a lot of that problem, if it becomes a YMCA, how does that help us? Be questions like that. So it's an exciting time. I'm hoping, I'm pushing to move this forward as fast as we can to get that contract done and get this thing kicked off. So if we're able to get the contract done in May and get this thing kicked off in first part of June, we'll be done probably around the end of September with this and have a final product.
And then what?
Well, eventually, in the end, it goes to the city council and they have to say, and they'll be involved along the way, and they have to say, yes, we agree, this is the master plan, and this is what we're going to do. So then we have $13-14 million right now that we can bond against and build it. Or depending on how the study comes out, if we've said, okay, we have this $14 million building that we really love, but it sure super makes sense to put one more gymnasium on those other two because you can do this many more things for the community, then we need an extra $1.2 million. Where does that come from? And then the city council will have to make that decision.
So is the MPD only get you a certain, like it doesn't add more every single year? So could you wait a year and get an extra X amount?
Right.
wait
It
another
just
year?
comes in with property tax. So in essence, what we do is we average out how much we're getting every year and kind of project what that money's going to be. And then just like a house loan, we'll bond against it. We'll take out a loan, bond it against the money that we know is guaranteed to come in, and we'll pay back the loan.
So it's not, you don't have 13 million in the bank right now. You have
No.
projections over time.
Right.
Okay.
So it'd be a 20-year loan.
Gotcha.
When it comes to the site, you said the brewery, is that the west side of?
The valley, in the valley.
Or in the
where
valley?
Warehouses, yeah. We're currently doing we just finished a phase 1 environmental assessment of that lower property. And we're moving with ecology right now into phase 2 environmental where you're, actually going on site and
Samples.
testing some stuff.
Yeah.
That's never happened. Since the brewery closed in 2003, that has not happened.
The DOT site, same stuff would have to happen, given
Yep.
what's been there.
Undoubtedly, that site is contaminated with something.
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
was gonna say, I just could just look at it and tell you.
Yeah.
some contamination.
Yeah.
Underground storage tanks.
Yeah, anything that was around in the 40s, 50s, 60s, that was just the way that they did business. Even the city's old public works site, which is now Jim Brown Park, same thing. It was a Quonset hut shop, and when they painted something with lead-based paint and cleaned out everything with turpentine, they
Put it down the little.
yeah. So it was same cleanup at that facility, but that'll just have to be part of it.
What's the frequency of the steering committee meeting? Like you just said, we hope to have something by September.
It's probably once a month. in addition to this meeting. And you can be more involved if you want,
Sure.
if you have time. Well, you're a state
don't
worker.
have
You got all the time in the world. Yeah.
What?
4 nights a week for baseball.
Oh,
Okay.
Um, if we can't make all of the steering committee meetings, but is that still okay?
Yeah. You know, I think as much as you can do, as much
I
as
have
you're willing to do.
some Plans for the summer.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
It is some.
No, you know, as much as you can give, you know, this, you guys are the key. You are the advocates for Parks and Recreation. So I do need you there.
I will
Yes,
be there.
there
There are
will
2
be-
weeks in August.
Okay,
That I
there
won't
will
there.
be, undoubtedly, there will be special interest
Me too.
involved and
Yep.
people that are, you know, absolutely, we need a 10,000-foot senior center. We don't need gyms. We don't, you know, we need a commercial kitchen, not a warming kitchen. It'll go 1,000 ways. So we do need advocates that understand the compromise and the need that we have. So that's all I have on that, unless you have few more questions. No? So real quick, let me tell you, and you know, I didn't end up with an agenda in my packet somehow.
I don't know why I didn't get one, but I tried to jot down the things that I forgot to do earlier on.
Well, one of the positions that we lost was our admin 2-person downstairs. So Stephanie, who is the keeper of everything in our department and really makes everything go for us. She has been doing the entire department, all 5 divisions, all by herself for about a month and a half. So yeah, she's been stretched to the max and just done phenomenal, carried us through again. But let me update you. A couple other things that are going on that adds to what we do. We're firing up the construction plans for the Deschutes Valley Trail, which is the trail plan that goes from Pioneer Park to Historical Park. We have state funding in 25-26, as well as city funding in the capital facilities plan. And park impact fees that will feed the capital facilities plan and some Metropolitan Park District money, totaling about $7.5 million to do 2 more sections of the Deschutes Valley Trail. So there's a lot of permitting that goes into that. Almost every section of that trail is in a wetland, next to a wetland, in a buffer, crossing a body of water. Nothing about that trail is easy or cheap. So we're working back through the master plan of that and really getting into the engineering of bridges and impacts to the environment and starting that permit process so that we can do that, actually build that hopefully in 25-26. What's that?
Which 2 sections are you looking at?
It's the section from Brewery Park at Tumwater Falls. That name just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Brewery Park at Tumwater Falls underneath Capitol Boulevard to the East Street Bridge, which is the bridge that goes down into the valley. That's a very expensive section because of its proximity, and it's going to be on piles as it comes around the corner by the river. Per square foot, that's probably the most expensive piece. It stops at the East Street Bridge, and then from the East Street Bridge through the Craft District property, which is where all that development is on top with the different businesses. Part of their development, we require them to pay for the installation of the trail along that section. So that will be hopefully 25. They'll be finishing that section. So that's one piece. Then the other piece is from Deschutes Valley Park, T Street to Pioneer Park. Obviously super expensive there too. There's a 600-foot span bridge that goes across the Deschutes River and some wetlands there. That's gonna be a tough one. To
Whoa.
Can we just go down the hill and connect to and not go over the Pioneer? I would love to go to Pioneer, but
well, couple,
I
you know,
just want to get out of my neighborhood. Ulterior motive.
yeah. So in essence, and what I'm doing there is I'm creating a gap, right? So we've completed the trail from one end of Tumwater to basically to the golf course. And then we've completed it from Deschutes Valley Park to Pioneer Park, but there's a missing piece between T Street and Palermo, right? Much easier to fund, get state funding or federal funding for something like that. Look at this fabulous trail that we've done but we just need money for this little piece right here. And so, um, that's coming up. So, Trails End Park, you guys are well aware of the master plan that we did there. We're moving forward from that pretty picture master plan into actually engineering that project to put together for bid documents so that in 2025 we can bid that and build that park. Southwest Neighborhood Park, which is the park behind Tumwater Middle School off of Little Rock Road. We have 18 acres there. That park is master planned. I had Bob Droll did that master plan in like 1997. I had him update that plan. We had to change some things to meet some stuff that the school district did. But that plan has been redone and we'll be moving towards engineering on that plan as well. We may do those two parks at the same time. We'll see how funding works out for that. Isabella Bush Park, which is the park off of Linwood, where we have the barn and the school farm program and the walking trails. We worked with SCJ Architects and did a master plan there several years ago. They're updating that plan for us to put that project into $2025 so that we can keep that in the budget process. Stan's not here now, but Stan's busy. But we have major work going on both of our historical homes in the historic district above Historical Park. The Crosby House is getting a new foundation. That is the oldest house in Tumwater, 1865. And it's continuing to settle. Putting the freeway through did no favors to the Crosby House. And it has been shaky ever since. And we redid part of the foundation several years ago. We're going to finish that this year. So it's getting a new foundation, it's getting a new roof, it's getting some new siding, it's getting gutters, and it's getting paint. So the whole outside of the house will be redone this year. And the Brewmaster's house, formerly the Henderson house, we're finishing up the arson repairs from last year there. In fact, the wood floors are drying right now. They have been redone and refinished. New wall coverings, all new wallpaper, walls, ceilings, reconstruction from the areas that were burnt, some new wiring, some new lighting. That is going to be a whole new house when that opens up, and that's due to get painted, I think, next summer. So lots going on there. We're replacing the storm systems, parking lot storm systems at Pioneer Park. That system was put in 1994, and it's been through dozens of floods, which have scoured out some of that. So you see the sinking storm drain system. So we're digging a lot of that out and redoing some of that this summer. We're also doing that same kind of work at Historical Park for a storm system that has never worked. So we're gonna fix that. We're working with Ecology and the Squaxin Tribe on riverbank stabilization at Pioneer Park. We're on our 4th version of how that stabilization might take place. The tribe is very particular about how it works out. They're concerned about fish in the water, even though the Deschutes isn't historically a salmon run. They're concerned about salmon they get through the catch facility at Tumwater Falls and what they might do in giving them areas to spawn. So working with them as community partners, we come up with an idea that we think they'll support, and the last 3 times they have not. We think we're on a 4th version of how we might stabilize that bank, and they seem to be somewhat happy with that so far. So as that comes down, hopefully this summer we'll get everyone in agreement and be able to stop losing Pioneer Park to the river. It's sad. Rivers do what they do, but it's sad to lose so many acres of parkland, and it's also a dangerous situation for all the people that use that river. Lastly, we've been trying for 3 years to replace the parking lot at the golf course. That's a project that I'm working on. And again, that's a process of working with Ecology. The golf course parking lot was put in 1969, and that's the same parking lot today. We knew when we bought the golf course in 1995 that was going to be a priority to repave it because it was falling apart back then, and you can imagine what it looks like now. We're a continuous job of patching. In fact, our patching people joke that they're going to repave the entire parking lot in
Before we
time.
pave it.
So the way it was designed, and yet back then the way they did design, all the paved surfaces in Tumwater Valley go straight line right into the river. So there's no treatment or baffles or anything like that. So once, once we start a major project to grind and repave that whole parking lot, that triggers stormwater treatment. So we're coming up with new ways to do stormwater treatment, whether that's vaults and filters or infiltration ponds. We just don't have a lot of room down there. We don't have enough parking as it is. So I'm trying not to take away parking spaces, but we still have to find a way to treat the water. So we're a project that was supposed to be done 2 years ago. Then we thought we would do it last summer. And then I was sure we were going to do it this summer. And it's probably a next summer project by the time we get it permitted. And I think that's all I have for you tonight, unless you have questions.
It's
Yeah.
very exciting to get those big sections of the Deschutes Valley Trail.
Yeah.
It's like, we've been talking about it for so long, and to even have those are major sections with the bridge. And
Yes. Yes.
yeah, very exciting.
Is there a detail of where it goes through specifically in Pioneer? Because I've looked online, I can't ever actually find like the actual route through the park.
Yeah, it is. And I can send that to you. It comes off if you go to Pioneer and you walk to the end of the parking lots, and then you take that closest trail that follows the kind of the tree line.
Yeah.
It just goes straight out
Okay,
that way towards the golf course.
gotcha.
So that project has a major impact on the golf course as well. Construction of that trail will probably close half the golf course at a time, which would be a big revenue hit for golf.
Yeah.
But safety wise and speed of construction, those two activities aren't going to work together.
While you're golfing,
Mm.
hard hat,
Yeah.
hard hat golfing.
Chuck, that railway grade is still active? The one
What?
near the railway grade, railroad is still
Yes,
active?
once a day.
Mhm.
They go to Ancor out in Mottman and then downtown.
That line goes to Mottman?
Yeah, it does.
No, it went downtown.
Yeah.
Occasionally at night, they come by with military tanks on it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like everybody's really busy.
Yeah.
Good update.
Yeah.
Super
Super
busy.
busy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's busy, but big picture, it's good. We're doing great things.
It's just been, we've been waiting for so long because of COVID and whatnot. It's like, whoa, now we're going.
Go. Yeah.
Okay, so the items that I missed earlier on in the agenda, our next meeting date is May 15th. And we're supposed to talk about our last meeting minutes, but I actually did not see the meeting minutes in the email that we got.
No.
So we can't really approve them if we haven't read them.
Well, and somebody needs to write them.
Okay.
That last meeting, we didn't have it on Zoom, and our recording person wasn't there, right? So then it became me scribbling notes about, we talked about this, we talked about this, we talked about this, and I just haven't written them up. But it's be a very, I still have the notes. It's be a very basic
Okay.
minutes. So you'll have those next time, hopefully
Okay.
with this meeting minutes.
Meetings moving forward will be here?
Yep.
Okay.
What's our Trails End Park update?
As to
Where it's at right now?
where I just met with the engineers today, and we're moving it from pretty picture to actual construction documents. So, from grading through building, all the quantities and everything that's going to have to happen and how we want it to look.
Okay.
So, in a few months, we'll have a bid packet that a contractor can look at and measure quantities and time and people and how much it's going to cost him to build it. And then we'll send out for bids and see what we get.
That's a few months from now?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I cover everything?
I think you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else that we need to talk about? Since we're
I'm
being
curious,
relatively formal.
dollars left over from last year. You know how we have like $20,000
Yeah.
per year?
Mhm.
Did we use all that last year? I'm trying to remember. It's been a few minutes since your last meeting.
Yeah.
But, do you know if we have anything remaining?
If we,
And
we
I think we
do.
used-
Yeah, you didn't use nearly all of it last year, and we operate in biennial budget, so it's
It's there.
it's all there. Last year and this year, whatever is left is still there.
you could projects that-
We'll bring those to you in a future meeting.
Yeah, because this year will be the end of the biennium, right?
Yes.
So we'll have to get that money spent before the end of the year.
They usually bring us the wish list of what everybody else wants to have. and
Yes,
we
yes.
vote on it.
Or tell them something.
You can see Todd's wheels turning right now. Oh.
He's ready. He's
Yeah.
got ideas. Is it losing air?
Well, we
Well, we'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All right. Meeting adjourned. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.